So it is official now. I have lost 19 pounds since we went into quarantine over COVID-19. Most people have gained 19 pounds, right? That's what the joke about the 19 was. But there are a number of reasons why COVID-19 helped me lose 19 pounds. Well, first of all, I caught COVID-19 at one point, and that probably helped suppress my appetite and made it easier to change some habits. But more importantly, the quarantine has given me a little bit of a mental reset and allowed certain changes to flow a whole lot easier. Now, even before the lockdown, back in January of 2020, I made a New Year's resolution to normalize my relationship with food. It wasn't because I wanted to lose weight, but because food had been very intrusive in its own right. Whether it caused me to gain weight or not, it was causing me to lose my focus at work, having cravings and lose my focus. It was getting in between me and my friends, having a craving while I really needed to spend time with my social circle. It was getting in the way of my travels. I would go to a conference in a different part of the world. I wouldn't be able to get to my favorite foods, and it just caused a mental wreck. So 2020, I made a resolution not to lose weight, but to normalize my relationship with food. And it wasn't that long after that I discovered I had a lot more money in my pocket. I was able to pursue a number of hobbies. I took up bowling, and also I didn't have nearly as many financial challenges, right? My car would break down, and instead of panicking, I actually had money to take care of that. Things would happen, little emergencies. Obviously, when we all went into an emergency of losing hours at work, it could have been a lot worse, right? Not to say it was a cakewalk, but it could have been a lot worse if I continued to indulge in overeating in the way that I did just months earlier, right? Now, when we first went into lockdown and we first heard about social distancing, I remember thinking what a blessing this is. Because when I first made the resolution to normalize my relationship with food, and I had to tell people around me, that, I'm in the middle of fasting, why don't we come back to this food tomorrow? It's a barrier. I mean, not that people necessarily disapproved, but it put a dampen to the mood, right? You have to rock the boat, right? Sometimes the beat of the music is going, and you have to break it, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm fasting. And I have very supportive coworkers and friends, but it still broke the beat of the music, and it broke my heart, more importantly, when somebody thought enough about me to know what foods I like, they prepare it, and I'm in the middle of fasting. Let's face it, I'm human. It breaks my heart. When I have to say I'll come back to it. It still does, but I realized that having a good relationship with food is even more important. But I went the other day, yesterday, I went to get a test for COVID-19. Next week, King County is going to require us to show a test from within 3 days to go out in public. And when I stepped on the scale, I realized, oh my God, I hit it. I gave COVID-19 a whole new meaning. I lost 19 pounds. I know I only lost 7 by the beginning of the year because at the beginning of 2021, I was emailing one of my former students to thank him. What had happened was I teach at Washington Technology University, and we almost lost one of our students because of a problem that I had. I had office hours at the campus at 6 o'clock, and I had another job at a tutoring center, and I had like half an hour to eat. I went into the break room at our campus. It was 5:30, and the student showed up early. And I tried to answer him because I thought he had a very simple question. I thought I could take 2 minutes to answer him, get right back to my meal. His question got much more long-winded than I had anticipated, and I got very edgy. I wanted to get back to my food. That's how I used to behave with eating disorders. He threatened to drop the class. He said, it's only the second day of class. I'm already having trouble signing up for my homework. I want to drop the course. How do I do this? And my heart's racing out of my chest, and somehow I get through the question. This was November of 2019, and it was then that I decided my New Year's resolution for the next year would be to normalize my relationship with food. Now, fast forward a year later, New Year's Day 2021, I composed an email to thank him about making me wake up from that problem, because it wasn't just the one student we almost lost. It was several girlfriends that I lost. It was not having my life, not being able to go on my favorite vacations that I lost. And so I thanked him. I wished him well. And in the email, I said I had lost 7 pounds. So I lost another 12 from the beginning of this year. Again, it wasn't even my goal to lose weight. It was my goal to take control of my faculties of eating. But as a side benefit, I weigh about as much as I did when I was working on my PhD now. I have a lot more money in my pocket, both to indulge in hobbies and also to not have so much financial stress going on, right? So right now I'm getting my car repaired. I mean, it's a bummer, but it's not a financial panic, right?